Yo, what's going on, guys? Sorry for the really shitty lighting. I really tried my best, but boy, it does not want to work. But today, I thought we could just talk about, I promised this over a year ago now to do story times. So today, I thought finally I would tell you guys some times where I could have gotten kidnapped. Just gonna be little jump cuts here and there. Not too crazy editing. All right, let's just get straight into this. Number one, the first story that I have is by this actually didn't happen too long ago, but it was when I was taking my dog Kenai on a walk to this trail that's by my house. But basically, I kind of need to tell you guys how the trail works just for the story. It's more towards the end part, but basically, it's just this straight line that just goes down probably like 2 miles, and there's just trees on either side. So it's like a trail that goes kind of through some areas, has some twists and turns. Then it gets to this tunnel, and then just from straight then, it's just like a 2 mile, like just straight line. So me and my dog Kenai were just going, and we were probably maybe like a quarter of the way on the trail. There was also another straight line on the way that we were walking to where the start of the trail was and where we were. It was just a straight line, and it was pretty far, I would say, or it is pretty far. And I noticed a guy who was dressed in all black walking behind us at the very start of the trail. And so then me and my dog get to the tunnel, and then we get maybe half a mile, probably more like a quarter of a mile away from the tunnel. Then that guy is there at the beginning of the tunnel. He's just there. Keep in mind, you literally would have had to have been sprinting to get that much ground, to get to the tunnel to where he was at that amount of time. You literally would have had to run. And so then me and my dog, like, we continued to walk, and he was just acting like a fucking tweaker, like just doing this weird ass shit, like kind of just like walking like this almost. It was so weird, but like he's like walking like this, but slow. Cause like normally when you like walk like this, you're running, but no, he's just doing this while walking slow. And so he was just like being weird and giving us strange looks. And so at the along the trail, there's a lot of little places where you can just go into the brush and hide. And so that's what me and my dog did. And so we hid for maybe like 5-10 minutes in this really hidden spot that I knew he wouldn't find us at. And this is the part of the story that I needed to give you guys an explanation of the trail. So we get back out, and there's no one. He's nowhere to be found. Keep in mind that, like, if he just kept on going, we would have been able to see him at the end of the trail. But no, he was not there, wasn't by the tunnel. He just disappeared. This probably isn't the case, but I think he might have tried to, like, go in the woods to, like, find us or something. That might have happened, but I'll never know. But yeah, just a scary experience on the trail. It wasn't too crazy of an experience, but it was just a nice little opener. So this next story happens when I was probably about 5 years old, more like six, but somewhere around there, 5, 7. But I was at the park, and I remember these guys had some like golf clubs. Keep in mind, I remember this very vaguely. And so I don't remember how it went entirely, but they had golf clubs, and I think we got into like a fight or something, and they literally threatened to beat the shit out of me with those golf clubs. They were like 14 years old, and I was 6. And so then their dad like starts rooting him on. Guy apologized or some shit like that, and then he offered me pizza. Which this is the part of the story which I'm like, that could have been I refused because I was smart, but that is the moment where if you never know, he could have slipped some into that shit. But he was kind of a sketchy guy too. He had this old Ford 90s pickup truck. I don't mean to be like, this just kind of goes a part of the story just to give you guys some more details. It's not me trying to be racist or anything, but he was Spanish. And that wasn't like, I'm not meaning that because he was Spanish, she was scary, but just a little bit more detail. But yeah, it was just kind of a scary experience. And I remember those kids were like swinging them at me and shit, but yeah. All right. Then there's another time where it isn't really a crazy story. I think it was in like, it was sometime in 2020, 2021, where I was living at this old bitch's house. She was a bitch, so. But there is this day where this huge storm just came through and just caused hell, man. Like trees fell over, all the power was out. Like I remember walking down the street and like seeing people's like side paneling just all stripped off, and like one guy had like a tree that crashed into his house, and it was crazy. But I was just walking around. I wanted to just see the damage. This is while the storm was still going on. It wasn't like super dangerous to be outside, but it probably was just a little bit. I was doing this thing that was so cool, and this doesn't really matter, sorry, but I was standing at the top of this hill with my back facing against where the wind was blowing, and I could just like stand there without putting any pressure on my back, like trying to lean back, and the wind would just keep me up. That's how hard it was blowing. I was at the same park. I remember there was this knocked over tree that me and my friend would play at a lot, and we got super mad when they took it down. Because, we were kids. But while I was walking home, there was this guy in a red van. Well, more like a small red van, but he pulled out beside me and opened his door and was just like, "Hey, you need a ride from the storm?" And I was like, "I'm good, fam." But he had a weird vibe. He looked like Italian. Again, not saying because he's Italian he's scary or anything like that, just trying to add more details. He was just kind of a scary dude. All right. I saved the best story for last because this is actually, I really could have gotten kidnapped, and this was quite the experience. So, this happened while I was living at my grandparents' house. This was not too long ago. This was around the same time that I got Orion in Call of Duty. No, he was actually over the night that I got Orion on Call of Duty. I remember. So, I guess I should start it off with, so I have an aunt whose name is Alice, and she had this husband named Kevin, who it's actually pretty ironic. That's the same name as my dad, and we don't have the best relationship, but I just thought that was pretty funny. But basically, Kevin just started getting weird, and they were married, and they got divorced, and then Kevin literally started stalking her and like coming to her house and like following her everywhere she went. And so she um decided to date this guy named Matt, who said he was, and this is important, he said, we don't know if this is true, he said he was from Hawaii and that he had like traveled all across the US in a pickup truck once. But he was this white guy with kind of short, maybe to like right. He was maybe like right here with me. He had this like long beard and like long hair, but he was kind of balding right here. Wasn't too crazy, but he was definitely starting to go. And he just kind of looked like a meth addict. Like he was an interesting guy. He seemed fine at first, but boy, you fucking wait. So we were hanging out in one of my grandma's living rooms. I was showing him one of my Lego guns that I'd built because I've been building Lego guns for a long time. I've been doing them for 10 plus years now. I was showing him one of my Lego guns. This was kind of the first red flag. So I was showing him it, and it was this like big sniper rifle that was bolt action. And I was showing him my Deagle. Actually, one second. I was showing him this exact Desert Eagle, which yes, this was the same Deagle that was on the channel. This thing has been together for about 3 or 4 years now. But yeah. So I was showing him that, and he told me, you know, there's nothing like killing an animal and just feeling that power behind, you know, just feeling that power and, you know, experiencing that. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And so, yeah, he straight up told me that I should go kill an animal because he said that it feels great. And so that was the first red flag, but so then I also showed him my bala songs or butterfly knives. He was like, apparently in Hawaii they're not legal or something like that. And so he asked where I got it, and I just said I got it at the mall because that's where I did get it actually. But he was just like, "Whoa, you want to go there?" And I was just like, "Sure, why the hell not?" And so I thought he was gonna like talk the rest of the family into going to the mall, but nope. It was just me and him. That was like we went out to go say bye, and then like when I saw no one else was coming out, I was just like, "Oh shit. This is where I fucked up." Like I really thought he was just gonna be like you know, let's all go to the mall and stuff like that, but nope. I mean, to be fair, I can kind of blame my family members just a little bit because they just did not care at all that we were going, and I'd only met this guy for like 3 hours. So I was like, I did want to tell this guy like, no, I'm not going without my family, but that's awkward as hell. So I ended up just going with the flow, and that was stupid. I mean, I can't lie, that was pretty dumb. And so we get to the car, and this was Alice's car, and this is a nice fucking car, man. It's like I think it was a Dodge or something like that, but it was just this like car, like a super sporty car that had like battle shifters, I think they're what they're called. But it was just like, it was a super fast car. And this, so we're just going, and he starts speeding. Like, he just starts fucking gunning it at some points. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he just does not care. Like, at some points, like, we were probably in, like, 30-mile-per-hour zones. We probably sped up to, like, 50 or 60. And so that was super fun. But then he starts talking to me, like, about weed and drugs. And he's just like, oh, have you ever done, like, fentanyl or, like, weed or anything like that? And I'm like, no, dude, I haven't. And he was just talking about it, and it's just like, first, why do you ask the kid that you just met, have you ever done fentanyl? Fentanyl? Like, dude, who do you think I am? I'm not that much of a dumbass. And he asked me if I ever smoked weed, which I said no. But anyways, so he's talking to me all about that, and then he was saying, yeah, when we get to the parking lot, I'm probably gonna light up. And I'm like, what? You're gonna light up in the parking lot? Keep in mind, this dude had flour, which flour versus pens smells a whole lot intense. Like, if you just smoke a blunt, or like, not a blunt, a joint, you can tell. Like, you can tell. And so, like, we got out. I immediately just got out of the car and, like, just kind of walked off a little bit. He stayed in the car for a little bit, so I don't know if he did or not. But I've had COVID, like, 5 times, so my smelling is completely gone. Literally, like, I can't smell a damn thing besides really intense smells like shit. And so I couldn't smell if he smoked weed or not. But, so yeah, we walk in and we look around for a little bit. This part was fine. I felt safe in the mall because, you know, it was public place and he couldn't try anything. But yeah, we just ended up walking around, and then we go to a store that I've never been in before because I don't really care about sports, but we go into this like sports shop that has like hats and like jerseys and shit like that, just a whole bunch of merchandise. And he just goes on to this long conversation with the store clerk and kind of gets like he almost argues with him a little bit. I'm like, dude, what? Like, why are we doing this? And so, yeah, we get out. He almost bought me he almost actually bought me a Yankees hat, which the only reason why I want to have a Yankees hat is because of Schlatt. And also because I lived on the East Coast for a little bit. But those are the only two reasons why. But it ended up costing $40 fucking. $40 for a hat that just has a logo on it. This is why I don't care for sports, man. But, we got out of there, and then we went to the store where, you could buy ballad songs and shit. It was this Asian gift store, one side of the store was just dedicated to, like, knives and shit. They sell a lot of interesting things. But out of nowhere, he just hands me $20. Like, I'm not even shitting you. He just hands me $20. And he's just like, I know how it was like to be a kid and, not have any money in your pocket. Like, first of all, that is rude as hell, assuming that I do not have any cash, which I didn't. But that is pretty rude, you gotta admit. So, yeah, we get, like, I'm not complaining about getting $20. Like, I'm fine with that, but yeah, we get done in there. Yeah, we get back home, and that's the end of that. But that isn't where the big story ends. So this part of the story is kind of foggy for me, but they're having troubles, and Allison just eventually said, let's split up. Let's just go see other people. And Matt started getting pushy and like started arguing to her, being like, we're meant to be together, and like all that shit, which they keep in mind they were only dating for like 2 weeks by now, and they weren't really even dating. They were just kind of like, let's see how this works. He started arguing, like saying that they were meant to be together and all that, and and then Matt started like that. By the way, this was in California. That's where Allison lives, and none of my other family members lived there besides her. Kind of a stressful part of the story, and so we couldn't immediately get to her. So, Matt just started going crazy, like throwing stuff around and like starting to throw a temper tantrum and shit. And so she eventually had to call the cops, and they pulled her out, and Matt like wouldn't stop like texting her and like being all that. And so she literally had to like go to the police and like tell them like, can you solve this? And so, they did. They told Matt, don't talk to her or else we're going to have to intervene. And so he finally stopped. And so now Allison, because of Kevin and Matt, has to live in this very kind of by the redwood forest. Like, I'm not going to name anything specific, but she has to live in this cabin that's just away from fucking everybody. Like, that takes her probably an hour or two to get to a good city. And she has to stay in California because she's like the manager or boss of this company that I don't know what company it is. But so now she has to drive like 2 hours to work every day and spending a shit ton of money on gas and all that just because of Matt and Kevin. So I guess the moral of the story or thing to take away from it is be careful who you date. So yeah, that's all the stories I got for you guys today. I just let me know if you guys like this kind of content, if you'd like to see more. I got a few stories that I'm thinking about posting to YouTube, and so yeah, just let me know what you guys think of this video. And so thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.